Starting off this countdown, we have Pratima Mandal. TikTok influencer Pratima disappeared after performing a show in Delhi on January 2nd in 2020. That was also the last day she spoke to her husband. After that, her phone was switched off and never turned back on. Her husband alerted the authorities after she hadn't returned from Delhi. Apparently on January 15th, she had another show, but in a different location. Of course, she didn't show up to the show. Now that's all the information we know. Pratima is still missing and we don't know what happened to her after her show on January 2nd. It's also hard to come up with theories as to what may have happened to her because there's hardly any information about her case online. In our 9th spot, we have Lisa Nova. And guys, here's just your little friendly reminder to hit that thumbs up button because it really helps us out. Lisa Nova, or Lisa Donovan, created her YouTube channel back in 2006 and used it as a platform to post her comedy sketches on. Shortly after launching her channel, a casting director from Mad TV saw one of her videos and asked her to audition for the show. In 2007, she made her appearance on a sketch in the show. In 2011, she just stopped making YouTube videos. She hasn't been heard from since. Besides her random cameo in the 2015 movie The Wedding Ringer, seems like she's just moved on from her YouTube sketch comedy days. In our 8th spot, we have Kasper Przybylski, and I'm so sorry, I know I pronounced his name wrong. So he was a 22-year-old Belgian YouTuber, but on October 23rd, 2020, he disappeared without a trace. On the day, he left his parents' home around 4. That was the last time he was ever seen. He went missing for a week. Police had no leads and no one knew where he was. Sadly, a fisherman was out fishing in a canal one morning when he saw a body in the water. It was later found to be Kasper's. There was no indication of foul play, so they believe he jumped into the river and took his own life. Sadly, that's all the information we know on this case. Coming in at number 7, we have Asenna O'Neal. Asenna O'Neal was an Instagram influencer before people even knew what that was. She grew up on Instagram. She joined the platform when she was only 14, and by 19 she was getting paid for her posts, and being an influencer was her full-time job. But in 2015, she left all of her social media accounts behind. On YouTube, there is now only 3 videos up. The last one is titled Why I Really Am Quitting. Now, people originally thought that her online disappearance was just a publicity stunt and that she would be back in a couple of weeks. But no, she abandoned it for good. She disappeared completely off of social media. In our 6th spot, we have Kenny Veach. Kenny Veach was a pretty famous YouTuber back in the day, and he was a pretty big urban explorer influencer. He was known for his YouTube channel Snake Bit McGee.
Well, here I am on my hike up here in the mountains north of Las Vegas.
On November 10th, 2014, Kenny disappeared without a trace. He told his family he was going on a trip to the mountains in Nevada, but he never returned home. Now here's where it gets strange. 1 month prior to this adventure, Kenny discovered a cave in the Mojave Desert, which he shared on his YouTube channel. In the video, Kenny claims that he found this hidden cave with the opening in the shape of an M. He is known to cave explore, but said that when he entered the cave, it began to vibrate and he got really scared. He claimed that it was one of the strangest things to happen to him. But Kenny was intrigued and wanted to eventually go back and explore the cave. When Kenny did go on his journey back there, that was the last time he was ever seen. Now, since the desert is so big and filled with a number of caves, it was hard to figure out what cave Kenny was referring to. As a result, search parties never located him. The only thing they did find was Kenny's cell phone near a mine shaft about a week later after he disappeared. Nothing else has surfaced, and Kenny's disappearance still remains a huge mystery. We are now at our 5th and halfway mark with Hannah Minks. Hannah Minks, or Hannah Wagner, was known for cosplaying as anime characters, and sometimes she would provide her audience with some Japanese lessons. She was doing pretty well for herself and had quite a loyal following. But in 2013, she disappeared without a trace. The last video she uploaded onto her YouTube was a video from San Diego Comic-Con in 2013. Then, that was it. She was gone from all social media platforms. Fans were worried for her. In fact, there was a story going around that she was kidnapped or had passed away. I mean, she left without even saying goodbye. It was just all of a sudden with no warning signs. But apparently she is now actually married with children. So I guess she just got tired of YouTube and moved on. Moving on to number 4, we have Paul Zimmer. Okay, this next case is crazy. So basically, back in the day, there was a famous Musical.ly star known as Paul Zimmer. Over the course of a few years, he got millions of followers on Musical.ly. But in 2018, he got into a pretty big scandal and was accused of scamming his audience and taking their money. As a result, he basically disappeared off of the face of the earth. Then out of nowhere in 2020, he comes back and posts about how he has this look-alike, some actor named Troy Becker. He then tells all his followers he's given over his social media account to Troy because he didn't just want his page to die. Then Paul disappeared without a trace and Troy took his spot. Here's the thing, Paul is Troy. He's just making it seem like Troy is just someone else that looks identical to him. But fans weren't fooled by this. Seems like he created Troy as a way to escape his past, yet still remain in the spotlight. That's just kinda messed up. But Paul is gone forever and now it's all about Troy. In our third spot, we have Marina Joyce. Marina Joyce was a pretty popular beauty blogger from London, but in 2016, fans noticed that she was acting fairly strange in her YouTube videos. In one video titled Date Outfit Ideas, you can see that Marina does not seem like herself and she's acting fairly strange.
Hey guys, so today I'm advertising Style You and I'm advertising their clothes. So this is me just advertising their clothes and yeah, I love you guys so much. It's the clothing company that I'm advertising.
Many believe that she had been kidnapped. In fact, in one of the videos, fans noticed that there was a in the background. In another video, she had bruises all over her arms. And in another one, she whispered, "Help me." Then in 2019, she went missing without a trace. Now, she was only missing for 10 days, but we don't know where Marina went, disappeared to, and why. In our second spot, we have Alexis Sharkey. Last year, 26-year-old Instagram influencer Alexis Sharkey disappeared after spending Thanksgiving with her friends in Houston. The next day, her family was notified that she was missing. No one had heard from her for over 24 hours, and her family and friends were growing concerned. They immediately got police involved, but they were unable to locate Alexis. No one knew where she went. She just disappeared without a trace. That was until a sanitation worker saw something strange at the side of the road. It was Alexis's bare body. That was the last thing anyone wanted. They all prayed to find her alive. After months of waiting, police finally revealed that her cause of death was by strangulation. Sadly, her killer hasn't been caught. And in our number 1 spot, we have Jessica Steen. Jessica Steen was a well-known Instagram model. She shared travel and fashion posts and posted something on Instagram almost every day. So fans were quite worried when all of a sudden the posts stopped. Since January 4th of 2020, there has been no signs of Jessica. She has millions of followers. It's quite strange that she would just abandon her page like that. Now, Jessica did share pictures of her young daughter who suffers from a rare chromosomal abnormality. So fans think her absence might have something to do with her daughter. On her posts, people are commenting saying things like, "It's been a long time since you've been on IG. I hope you and your family are well." They are concerned something bad has happened to her.
Starting off this list at number 10, we have Kenny Beach. His real name is Kenneth Lee Veach, and he was an American YouTuber who posted videos of his hiking trips. He only ended up uploading 5 videos in total, but interacted a lot with other hiking channels, which helped him quickly gain popularity. Kenny was very proud of the toll his amazing and difficult hikes took on his body. He even said it took him 3 days to recover from his hikes usually, and that sometimes his toenails would even turn black and fall off. Near the end of 2014, Kenny posted a comment on a video that explained that while he normally enters every single cave he finds, when he found one that was shaped like an M and began to enter it, his whole body began to vibrate, and the closer he got, the feeling became more intense. The feeling really freaked him out, so he ended up getting out of there as quickly as possible. After this comment, tons of other users encouraged him to try and find the cave again and fight the eerie feeling and go inside, and to make a video of it. Kenny did exactly this and made a video that ended up being his most viewed video titled M Cave Hike. Unfortunately, he was unable to find the same cave again. Viewers were upset that he was unable to find it, and they quickly started pushing for him to look again, but there were a few comments begging Kenny to leave it alone and not to go back, fearing that he would be putting himself in a dangerous situation. On November 10th, 2014, Kenny set out once again to try and find the cave and explained to his family that he would just be going on a short overnight trip. Unfortunately, Kenny never returned home and the search began. His cell phone was discovered at the opening of an abandoned mine shaft, which many viewers thought they recognized from his M Cave hike video. Unfortunately, since then the trail has gone cold and Kenny still has yet to be located. While it is extremely unlikely, I really hope that he is still out there somewhere, and hopefully one day we get the answers we're looking for and his family will get their much needed closure. Moving on, in our number 9 spot we have the YouTube user Bill Smith. Bill Smith was part of the QAnon movement and posted a lot of videos that he claimed were secrets that the government doesn't want us to know about. He was an extremely frequent poster, so it raised alarm bells when he just all of a sudden stopped posting videos. He never gave any indication that he wanted to stop posting videos, and his last video honestly made it seem like he had every intention to continue, with him saying he will fight with everything he has and that he was all in. There are a lot of theories about where he could have gone that include him being investigated by Homeland Security, or if there were any truth to his claims, potentially being taken into custody. People also believe that if his channel did become active again, that it would be the government covering their tracks and uploading on his behalf. It's a lot of speculation, but at the end of the day, who is Bill Smith and where did he go? Moving on to number 8, we have the user Paranormal Lana, who also was known by the name Alana G. She was a pretty popular YouTuber with over 50,000 subscribers and mostly covered content that was either paranormal, spooky in some way, or real events. On September 3rd, 2015, her channel was just suddenly deleted, as well as all of her social media accounts. This quickly became a huge topic of conversation among other YouTubers who were in the same genre as Alana. One person began to point out that just prior to her disappearance from the internet, she had posted a series of tweets explaining that she had a pretty serious stalker incident, and she was having to change how her social medias were being managed. Although many cyber sleuths have looked into where she could have gone, no one is exactly certain of what happened to her. If she really did have a stalker, maybe disappearing was the only thing she could do. I just hope that she is safe wherever she ended up. Moving on down to number 7, we have Shima Luan. Shima Luan was an American YouTuber who worked for the channel Super Planet Dolan. It was an animated channel, and Shima was one of the most active characters on the channel and was well liked by those who watched. In 2016, in a video called The Future of Planet Dolan, they explained that Shima had suddenly fallen out of contact with the other people on the channel, but the last time they spoke, she was safe, so they didn't suspect anything bad. Of course, a lot of viewers didn't believe this and began to speculate that this was the crew trying to cover up her disappearance. In February of this year, a YouTuber called Scarce Theater made a video taking a look into Shima's disappearance, and one of the members of the Dolan crew left a comment that may have cleared some things up for us. The comment read, "It's sort of an unsolvable mystery to those who don't know her, because to solve it in a satisfying way publicly, we'd have to invade the actress who played Shima's personal life on a public level. No one who walks away from a job in entertainment wants to be dragged out in the public and shown around. That would be ghoulish. In respect to the privacy of others. All I can say is that this is one of the better videos on the topic. Everyone else fell into trappings of teasing ideas of conspiracy and horror. Truth is, we always had trouble getting folks to separate the cartoons from the actors." This definitely leads us to believe that Shima had her reasons for leaving the channel, but it truly is none of our business. It's easy to forget that some of our favorite creators are also real people who deserve to have their lives kept private, if they so choose. While we miss Shima's content, it's good to know that she is safe. Coming in at number 6, we have the YouTubers who went by Mac Adventures. They were a father and son channel with a destination of Area 51. In 2016, they had posted a video of them finally arriving at the Area 51 border. As they arrive at the border, a couple of agents in full camo gear pull up to them in a truck, get out with guns in their hands, and basically ask them to leave the premises. After the video was posted, they released one more video and then an extended version of their original Area 51 video, and then they went totally silent. All of their social media were blown up with people believing that the Area 51 video was fake, which has led some people to believe that they just decided they didn't want to continue creating content because of the negativity, but that's not what everyone believed. A lot of people believed that maybe they had just gone back to Area 51 and tried to get further into the closed off area than last time and ended up getting arrested, or maybe even worse. After a few years of people speculating and wondering what happened to them, last year there was finally an update. The son of the duo ended up doing a YouTube live stream where it was finally explained that they had just decided to take a break, and it ended up becoming more of a permanent decision than they had originally planned on. While this is sort of an anticlimactic ending, it's definitely the best outcome that could have happened. At our halfway mark in our number 5 spot, we have the user Kev Jumba, whose real name is Kevin Wu. Kevin was one of the first YouTube stars joining the platform all the way back in 2006, and by 2008 he was the 3rd most subscribed to channel. Kevin used his YouTube success to go on a season of The Amazing Race, as well as even landing a role in a Hollywood film, Revenge of the Green Dragons. He slowly began to post videos less frequently and eventually made his channel entirely private, moving his focus more to the other aspects of his career. Things took a turn though in 2015 when he kind of just entirely disappeared for a while. People began to get really worried about Kevin, and rumors began to swirl about what could have happened and where he could have gone. Luckily, we eventually heard from Kevin again, but in an unfortunate turn of events, he explained that the reason for his disappearance is because he had been hit by a car and suffered some pretty serious injuries. The accident left him with a broken spine and a collapsed lung, as well as a number of psychological injuries. He has since been focusing on his recovery and credits his dad for really helping nurse him back to health. While it is obviously extremely traumatic and upsetting that he had to go through this near-death experience, we're just glad that he was able to make it through and recover. Continuing on to number 4, we have Spy Kitten TV, who was also known as Dasha. Dasha made a lot of videos about the Illuminati and people that she suspected were members. Her last video was posted in July of 2018, and while all of her social media profiles remain up and active, no one has heard from her or seen a post since. It is possible that she just decided to leave the internet life behind, but it is kind of curious that she didn't leave any sort of farewell. People have speculated that she was exposing too many secrets and ended up being kidnapped or silenced by the Illuminati, while others believe that she met some sort of ill fate in another way. I'm sure those in her personal life know what happened to her, and while I wish someone could give us some sort of update, I suppose it really is none of our business unless they decide they want to share. Hopefully she's out there somewhere, and maybe someday we'll know what happened and where she went. Coming in at number 3, we have Marina Joyce. Marina was a popular makeup and fashion YouTuber and had a large 2.1 million following. People began noticing that something just wasn't right about her behavior in her new videos, feeling like she was more distracted. This led them to believe that she could be scared or in some kind of danger. Eventually people noticed a gun in the background of one of her videos, bruises on her arms, and people said she wasn't blinking as much, and even swore that they heard her whisper, "Help me." In 2019, Marina ended up going missing for 10 days. While she was missing, her boyfriend was tweeting that she was safe, even though the police had an active investigation into her whereabouts, and he tried to shut down any claims that he was acting suspiciously, even though it's super suspicious to say that a missing person is safe when no one knows where they are. After it was confirmed that Marina had been found, she tweeted that she never actually went missing, even though, like I mentioned before, the police were actively looking for her. She claimed that her suspicious boyfriend had been taking care of her. There are a lot of speculations about what happened and why she disappeared for that time, but she claims that she is not in any sort of toxic relationship and just wants her fans to watch her videos and stop worrying. Hopefully she really is okay and fans were just reading into things that weren't actually anything, but it's a super bizarre situation. Continuing on to number 2, we have Kaylee Elise. Kaylee was a true crime YouTuber who covered things like missing people and unsolved crimes. In 2019, we did get a heads up from Kaylee that she would unfortunately be leaving the platform due to some health concerns that she was facing, and in a live stream goodbye, she assured fans that she would keep her videos up for everyone to continue enjoying. This is all fine and well, but people got very concerned a few months later. In December of 2019, her entire channel was deleted. It caused a lot of fans to worry about what happened to her and if her health concerns worsened after she left the channel. Unfortunately, there hasn't been an update this year on what happened or what led to the deletion of her channel, but some people have begun re-uploading her videos so that people can continue to enjoy the content. Wherever she is, I hope she's able to take care of her health concerns and focus on herself. Finishing off this list in our number 1 spot, we have the strange disappearance of Nicholas Sonderegger. Nick was a fairly small but growing YouTuber with 2,000 subscribers and was featured on the YouTube channel Explore With Us. Nick was 28 at the time of his disappearance and was last seen on September 7th, 2018 around 2:30 a.m. He had heard a female screaming outside of his home in Salton Beach, California, and went to investigate. After he failed to return home that night, he was reported missing the next morning. Some of his clothing that he had left in was found by the search parties, but it is still unknown what happened to him or where he could be. It's really upsetting that he obviously went to go and help someone who seemed to be in despair, and it led to trouble for him. It certainly shows his courage and bravery. There's a $10,000 reward for any information that leads to his whereabouts, so if any viewers have information, please contact the Imperial County Sheriff's Office. Someone somewhere has to know something about where he could be, and I hope that one day his family gets answers and closure. Starting off at our number 10 spot, we have Taylor with an E. Last year, near the end of the year, Taylor with an E posted a TikTok and then kind of ghosted the app for a while, and it had people super freaked out and wondering what happened. The video was of her in Germany, where she is not from, and there were some mysterious sounds from outside of the room that she was in. She was clearly really freaked out in the video, and when she stopped posting after, people began to speculate that something terrible might have happened to her. She commented a few times on her own video explaining that her sister had told her to never open the door for anyone in the area that they were in, and also that she was home alone for the next 2 hours, which obviously made her stressful situation even scarier. Well, we eventually heard from Taylor again, thank goodness, and while she hasn't actually addressed what happened to her on TikTok, it's good to know that she is safe. There is a rumor that people may have actually ended up breaking into the house, and that maybe she isn't allowed to speak about it if there's an investigation going on, but that has yet to be confirmed. In our number 9 spot today, we have Elle. The TikTok user SigsFR, whose name is Elle, gave her followers a huge scare earlier this year. Elle posted a video on TikTok of her bruised body, saying that she had been kidnapped. She said that she didn't know exactly where she was, but knew that she was somewhere in Arkansas. In the comments of a video, she said that she knew the man that had kidnapped her and that his last name was Colarelli. And people on TikTok began contacting the Arkansas police. Elle also said that she would not be posting any more videos on TikTok because she said that she knew the man was about to take her life. People were absolutely freaking out and blowing the story up. People suspected the man she said is her kidnapper to be her ex-boyfriend, and people were also saying that she was using Morse code messages. Elle said that she couldn't call the police because her kidnapper would be able to hear the call, and this was the first red flag for people since there's a ton of ways to contact the authorities. The next red flag was the fact that Elle posted her Venmo, and people actually started donating. To get to the end of this story, basically the Arkansas State Police did end up investigating to find out what was going on, and they actually ended up finding Elle. It turns out she faked the whole thing. They haven't released a ton of details on exactly what was going on, but Elle has stopped posting on TikTok, which is probably the right move for now. I feel really bad for the people who were worried and who sent her money. In our number 8 spot today, we have LaCarica McNeil. Last year, 11-year-old Memphis resident LaCarica was reported missing. She was last seen on a weekend morning leaving her home and hadn't made any contact with her mom after that, which is obviously a great cause for concern because she's so young. She had apparently left her home with an older man that she had met on TikTok, which really just heightened the urgency of the case. The police description that was released after her disappearance said that she was last seen wearing a shirt with hearts on it and that she was just 4 feet 3 inches and only 55 pounds. This really paints a picture for just how small and potentially helpless she may have been. This investigation ended up prompting the question, how safe is TikTok really? In an amazing turn of events, LaKerica ended up being found and returned safe and sound, which is truly the best outcome for this really scary situation. I'm so glad that she ended up being okay and that this story has a happy ending. In our number 7 spot today we have Arlene Martinez. Earlier this year, a TikTok user was away from the platform for a while, but it wasn't long before fans found out what happened and it was all over the news. A 20-year-old TikToker named Arlene was filming a video for the platform that was supposed to depict a fake kidnapping. The video was a larger production with at least 10 people involved in the filming on this day. Arlene was tied to a chair and was acting out a scene in which she was struggling with the people who had fake kidnapped her. In a really sad turn of events, for some unknown reason, a loaded handgun was used as a prop in the video and it ended up firing, shooting and killing Arlene. There was actually a video posted of what the scene was like before this fatal moment. There has been a Facebook memorial page set up for people who love and miss her to go and share their memories with others. Moving on to our number 6 spot. Okay, so this one is about a person who posts on TikTok, but they are more successful on Vigo, which is an extremely similar app that is made by the same creators of TikTok. Earlier this year in January, a 21-year-old TikToker and Vigo star who goes by the name Jasmine on the apps went missing from Delhi, where she had traveled to for a performance. Jasmine's husband filed a missing persons report on January 7th. He said that she had left on December 31st for the performance and her phone was switched off on December 2nd and no one had heard from her since. Police quickly began their investigation and news began to spread of her disappearance. 10 days after the husband had filed the missing persons report, we finally heard some news. Jasmine actually ended up resurfacing and told a local channel that she had to run away because her husband and family-in-law tortured her. She said she never disappeared and that if you checked her husband's phone records, you would see that they had been in contact. This story is so crazy and has so many twists and turns in it. I'm really glad that Jasmine was able to get herself out of a dangerous situation and then she ended up being okay. Moving on to number 5 and our halfway mark. This story is a little bit different but is super interesting. In 2016, a woman came home to find that her husband had left the house that they shared with their 2 children. She tried as hard as she could to find him but was never able to find out where he went. She even filed the missing persons report with the police, but to no avail. Fast forward 3 years later to 2019 and a family relative thinks that she spots the husband in a video on TikTok. She of course quickly forwards it to the wife for confirmation. After watching the TikTok, she realizes that it is her husband and shows it to the police right away. The police ended up being able to track him down and confirm that it really was him. It's so crazy how the For You page literally helped solve a missing persons case. Moving on to number 4. In July of last year, 2 teenagers attempted an extremely dangerous TikTok video. Danish and Ashik were out for an evening walk when they arrived at a bridge. On the bridge was a group of people around their age who were performing different kinds of stunts and tricks to film for TikToks. The boys decided to join in on the fun and Danish ended up climbing onto the railing of the bridge before diving into the water below while Ashik filmed. After he captured the video, Ashik followed his friend and climbed over the railing to jump in the water as well. Danish ended up being rescued immediately by local divers who luckily just happened to be in the area, but unfortunately Ashik could not be located, even by the authorities once they were called. Lots of people tried to help in the search but were unsuccessful. It's really sad that what was supposed to be harmless fun turned into something so sad and so scary. Moving on to number 3. Okay. This one is a little different again, but I swear it is worth it because this story is pretty wild. Earlier this year, a group of teenagers were on a beach on Seattle to play around and shoot some TikToks. They ended up spotting something and went to investigate. Of course, documenting the whole thing on video to later be edited into a TikTok. As they approached, they realized that it was a suitcase and they thought that there might be money inside. As they got closer to the suitcase, they realized it smelled super bad. One girl ended up opening up the suitcase and it shows something wrapped in a garbage bag. This is when the teens rightfully decided to call the police before investigating any further. The police came and searched the whole area and found another bag as well. It turns out that the bags actually contained 2 bodies. This is where the police investigation began and shortly after led police to the killer. The bodies were identified as couple Jessica Lewis and Austin Wenner, and it turns out that their landlord was responsible for their deaths. I guess it was some dispute over unpaid rent, which is really not a good enough reason to kill people. I'm glad these teens did the right thing and called the police so that justice could be brought for the families of the victims. In our number 2 spot today, we have Anna Maskovich, aka Ref Batch. For the last 10 years, Anna has uploaded upwards of 20 videos a day to YouTube and ended up joining TikTok when it became available. Her videos tend to be a bit bizarre and are either her angrily rambling in an unintelligible mixture of Russian and English that has people who are fluent in both absolutely stumped as to what she is saying. There are a few phrases that people have been able to make out that are along the lines of her being angry at and afraid of the government, as well as being afraid of being kidnapped. The other videos she uploads are her interpretive dancing, usually in the woods and looking directly into the camera. There's a dancer who has the same name as her, and her performances stopped sometime in late 2008, but there aren't any photos to verify that it's the same person for sure. People began to speculate that she may have some form of schizophrenia, but of course that's just an internet diagnosis. In 2014, someone who claimed to be her husband, who had other videos of her, explained that Anna had actually been missing after she had been taken away for speaking poorly of the Russian government. He said that she had been taken to some sort of psychiatric institute where they gave her psychotropic drugs in order to make her stop speaking out about the government. Well, this has yet to be proven for sure. It is a pretty crazy story and kind of insane to know that while he's missing his wife, he sees all of these videos of her. I hope we get a concrete answer to this someday because there really is a lot going on. There's a lot more to this story that I don't have time to cover, but the YouTuber Atrocity Guide has an amazing video on all of it that I would highly recommend you guys go and check out after you're done watching this video. In our number 1 spot today, we have Sarah Turney. Okay, so this one isn't a TikToker who went missing, but it is a missing persons case that TikTok helped close the case on, so please don't get mad at me because it is really interesting. Sarah Turney was 12 years old when her 17-year-old sister Alyssa went missing. This happened on May 17, 2001, and ever since that day, Sarah has known that it was her dad, Michael, who was Alyssa's stepfather. There was never anyone charged with Alyssa's disappearance and presumed death, but Sarah just knew. Sarah began to post on TikTok as well as her website dedicated to the case, all of the evidence that she had pointing towards her dad. Things like the fact that he would follow her around and record her, and that there was at least one hidden camera inside of the house. Things like how he was the one who unexpectedly picked her up from school and was the last one to see her on that day. You know, just general uncomfortable, creepy things. Michael also kept changing his story about that day and night, which just adds another layer of suspicion. In an amazing turn of events, Sarah's voice was finally heard, and in August of this year, her father ended up being charged with second-degree. Sarah of course plans to attend every court hearing and every day of trial when it begins. I couldn't be happier for her, and I really hope that she sees justice served for her and Alyssa.